Alright, so today I'm pretty excited for this. We are going to be showcasing one of the best characters in the game, that being the Parasol version of Macy, making her first appearance into the game, and she is an amazing character, and hopefully we're going to demonstrate that in this video. Keep in mind, in this showcase, she is going to be forming at a 1 out of 5 character, and by that, she only has 500 additional SP. But because I do have a 5 out of 5, our Sovereign will be doing naturally more damage, so do keep that in mind. If you only have a 1 out of 5 Macy, she's still going to be forming the same. Her Sovereign is just going to be doing a tad bit less damage. With that said, though, Macy is a speed no affiliation character with the no affiliation and squad 0 kill ability. Personally, I do like the killers that she does have, but I do agree that the squad 0 is kind of an iffy one. I would have much preferred if that was anything else, many captain killer, for example. That would have been really good. But still, with these two killers, it means she can be used in the no affiliation guild quest, and of course also the squad 0 guild quest. And of course, if there are no affiliation enemies in a particular quest, she's going to be really ideal. But lucky for her, she doesn't even care about killer, because this character has some of the highest damage in the game. It's absolutely ridiculous. For starters, she has frenzy +2, and she is now the second character in the game, technically third if we count Bruno, to have frenzy +2 with the status element spiritual pressure boost. That right there is absolutely insane. And then at the same time, she also does 40% more damage to enemies that are paralyzed and also weakened. And what you can see here is that every attack can actually inflict paralysis and also weakening. That overall just makes her one of the best characters in the game before even seeing the strong attacks, with Sharpshooter, Havoc, built-in weakened defense, and also the fact that every time you enter another map, she recharges every speed character's strong attacks by 20%. So very similar to Queen's Ichigo, for example. It's a pretty good skill, definitely noticeable in single player and also co-op content. With that said though, let's try her out and see how she does perform. Alright, so jumping into a single player IT quest then, first up, I just want to comment on the character's visuals because they are absolutely stunning. For starters, she looks great in and of itself. She also has a very rare and unique flash step, which instead of just doing a normal flash step, Shunpo, or just rolling that Bargo does, she actually does the twirls. Now, this is not new to the game. We first saw this implemented for actually a Parasol banner in 2019, and that was the only banner to actually have this type of flash step. So it was a really cool surprise to see them bring it back just for this character, and it just makes her look better in my opinion. Her first strong attack is going to be a pushback attack though. It's not the best strong attack one, I will admit, but it's not bad by any means, and it does hit a few times, which does help her actually inflict stat summons, right? Her second strong attack is a tracking, oh, there we go, it's a distant AoE into a tracking vortex, pretty much the best strong attack 2 in the entire game, and the fact that it does have frenzy +2 on it obviously makes it a lot better for her to actually inflict stat summons. While it's true she doesn't have an increased chance to inflict stat summons, it's not really going to be an issue for her, because once you put that SA2 down, you are going to inflict the stat summon, and therefore get the 80% SP boost. Because you can see that we already got it instantly. Like, this character is not going to have a problem inflicting stat summons, which is great because she wants to inflict stat summons to get that SP boost, especially because when she does inflict the stat summon, let's say against a boss for example, she then does 80% more damage to those particular enemies. So SA1 isn't too bad, it looks great too, even the SA2, look at that, the visuals look absolutely amazing. And then it's also worth mentioning too, her SA3 comes out really fast. It's gotta be one of the fastest activation SA3s in the entire game. It's really good. And then finishing up with the Soul Bomb. Also, again, equally beautiful. It's a really good Soul Bomb animation. Very simple in nature, but it does what it does. This character looks great. She has a great V8 too. I believe it's the first time we're seeing it in BBS. And she just overall plays great. In that case, for our very first run, we got a 1 minute and 45 second clear time. Not great, but we weren't going for a fast clear time. Let's try that once more. Alright then, so jump into our second run then. Already inflicting the stars, and that's really good. Again, SA3 here. Look how just fast that goes off. One thing I will say though, and it's not really that big of a deal, survivability might be an issue here. I do usually like my characters having some heals to them, for example. In this case, Macy has no heal, so staying at full stamina might be an issue, and she's also not immune to any stat summon too. Now, I think she makes up for it with the damage output that she does have, so keep that in mind. And at the same time, she doesn't really need to stay at full stamina because she hasn't got any full stamina abilities besides just the built-in bonus abilities that I gave to her. But in this case, in IT, single player, keep in mind, we are going for his quest super easy, even though we have no killer advantage, right? This is a character that doesn't have killer, doesn't have an increased chance to inflict stat summons, but is still easily just able to beat any content she goes through. In this case, we were able to get a 47-second play time, so a tad bit faster there, definitely in line with some of the other characters in the banner, Bargo and also Bruno. But let's try that one more time. All right, attempt number 3. Let's see how this one does go. And I actually, in this run, want to keep track. Wow, look at that. That's beautiful. I want to keep track of the time it takes for our strong attacks to come back while moving to another room. You can see there into that second room, our strong attack 2 actually came back a tad bit faster, which again allows us to go through here. SA3 and 2 on a 7-second cooldown. SA3 already ready with the SA2 back 2. That's really good, especially for single player content, right? Where you naturally are clearing content a tad bit faster since it is easier. Even though it's only a 20-second recharge in between maps, it really does help. And we did get this character long stride with our bonus abilities, so we're able to take full advantage of that recharge. We are able to get through the next wave or the first wave of a new room very quickly. So that recharge in between maps is really good, especially when you do throw long shot onto this character. In this case, a 40-second clear time when she doesn't have killer is great, but that's single player IT. This character is too OP for single player content. Let's take her into co-op. All right, so let's check it out. Let's see how she performs. Remember, she is not really supposed to be used here. She doesn't have killer, but should still go through relatively easy. Look at that. Wow. All right, let's go here. SA2. Look at that. Beautiful. We do have to make sure we are trying to play it safe here. There are a lot of paralysis pulls, and we do get hit with paralysis. We obviously are going to lose a bit of DPS here if we do eventually get hit, right? But as you can see here, we're just able to easily use our vortex, keep the enemies in place, and we don't really have to worry about taking any damage because we're just constantly paralyzing, right? The bosses might be an issue. Usually they are when you don't have killer. But I think in her case, when I use that SA2, there's a pretty good chance the bosses are going to get paralyzed. And that's going to allow us to just be really safe. So honestly, I really love the combination of weakening and also paralysis. It's got to be one of the best in the game. Probably second to weakening drain. You really can't get better than that combo, but weakening paralysis is probably second to that. So far, so good. Haven't been hit yet. Let's go here, use our SA3. Maybe not the best usage, but we are now going to use our SA2 into the 1 and then get out of there. Hopefully we inflict paralysis. We didn't. I think we actually hit Misaki, but you can see here we're also making quick work of the bosses too. All right, Misaki's coming down. SA2, really good damage, and I think we also paralyzed too. Into the next room. This one's going to be really good if we can actually inflict paralysis against the bosses because it is a very small room. All right, let's use our SA1, push them back a tad bit, then the SA2. Can we inflict? We inflicted Candice. Lovely. We didn't inflict it against the Bambietta, but realistically, it didn't matter because we're still just doing ridiculous amount of damage. I think long stride on this character definitely is going to be the play here. I don't want to use my Soul straight away because we do have a 5-5, but I think we did enough damage here going into that boss, and we actually did do a pretty good amount of damage. If we were 1 out of 5, I think if we were 1 out of 5, we still might have nuked with that entire stage because she still does have a ridiculously hard hitting Soul Bomb, right? Weaken defense with the SP boost, with the 80% more damage to enemies inflicted with paralysis and also weakening. Yeah, she's also a pretty hard-hitting nuke. Even at 1 out of 5, which unfortunately I can't test now. In this case, 1 out of 5, she was able to clear co-op IT when she doesn't have killer in 2 minutes and 18-second clear time. That's really good. Really, really good. Usually in a situation like this, if a character doesn't have an increased chance to inflict stat elements, if they don't have killer, I don't bring them into IT. But Macy, I think, has proven herself here in this first run that she can be used in any inheritance trials regardless of the killer because of how much damage she's doing. It's great. And keep in mind, if you're carrying with Macy, for example, you're also allowing your team to do... Oh, that was beautiful. You're also allowing your team to do more damage too because, you know, you're recharging their strong attacks every time they move to another map, right? So she also makes for a decent leads. And if you have Akon in your team, for example, you're getting 20% more Berserker, which really does help her because she has Frenzy +2. But so far, so good. I mean, we haven't really gotten hit yet, so I guess survivability isn't really that much of an issue. If you do get hit, sure, it's going to suck because you have no way to heal yourself back up to full stamina. But if you know you actually get hit, it's always good just to have on some healings, for example. Strong attacks are already back right from the get-go. And you know, the SA1 works really well here with the SA2, right? Since the SA2 is usually grouping up the enemies, the SA1 does do a good amount of damage there. In that case, we actually did inflict both enemies there with the paralysis and also the weakening. That's great. Frenzy +2 on a tracking vortex is ridiculous, man. You know, that vortex alone is hitting 75 times. There's a really good chance that if you group up on enemies, almost guaranteed even, that you are going to inflict stat elements. There's a reason why this is the best strong attack 2 in the entire game. Best strong attack in the game. In this case, couple strong attacks there, going through them super easy. With the long stride, we don't have to worry about getting hit despite being in this pretty small area. Already into the next room. But again, I don't want to use my Soul Bomb straight away. Unfortunately, it did take a bit of DPS, so maybe we are going to use our Soul Bomb now, because at that point, we lost a bit of full stamina. Maybe it's more in line with a 1 out of 5 Soul Bomb that is also with a bunch of full stam links, right? So in that case, pretty good to be fair. If you give the character double weaken defense, maybe you don't actually want the long stride, for example. We actually inflicted both there. That's really funny. And maybe if you put attention time, you should be able to nuke through the entire stage. But in that case, another pretty successful run. What is the clear time looking like now? 2 minutes and 45 seconds, so a tad bit slower there. But we did take a hit, so let's try that once more and try and go for a perfect play time. Can we get a sub 2 minutes? Hopefully we can. All right then, so for our final run, let's see how this one does go. Already inflicting a star zone. That's absolutely beautiful. Use our SA1 into the 3. Look at that. Push that enemy up just to put them in place so we can actually sync that up. So the SA1 kind of worked out there, right? We pushed back the enemy so they get into a good position, and then we just nuked it with the SA2. Once more, let's go here, use the SA2. It's always advised to make sure you have the SP boost active before even deciding to use your SA3, right? That way you get the most out of your DPS, especially with that SA3, which usually is more limited because it has a longer cooldown. So in this case, we have our SP boost active, we use the SA3. Look at that damage difference, it's great. You use my SA3 now just to do a bit of damage and then nuke with that SA2. And then back up, hopefully we inflict paralysis. Looks like Misaki actually got paralyzed. And also Ryukin now. Yeah, look at that. That's great. That's great. Didn't even have to get close to Misaki there. I didn't even know how weak she was. We were just using our strong attacks, and it worked out, right? In this case, new wave spawned in. Let's use our SA2. Believe Bambietta actually got paralyzed. Lovely. Unfortunately, did get hit there. So now we're losing a bit of DPS, but I think we're fine. I think we're fine. We're into the final room, right? So SA1, and then group up the enemies with the SA2. Get them a tad bit weak. Then we'll decide to nuke. There we go. And then SA3 there. Bazby's paralyzed, so is Drugum. They both take hits. Not too bad. Not too bad. Maybe not the greatest third run. Usually we like to get a bit faster here. In this case, still somewhat consistent time. Right? We're looking around 2 minute clear time when it comes to a 1 out of 5 Macy. Wasn't the perfect set to run, so my bad, but still, it's really impressive, right? This is a character, and I mentioned it already, is a character that doesn't have an increased chance to inflict star elements, doesn't have killer, so ideally you don't want to bring a character like this into IT, but she is still able to just brute force her way through this particular piece of content, which I think is very, very commendable on how powerful she actually is in the game. If you have any dupes, this character is just going to get even better and better, right? If you have this character 2 out of 5, so you're getting guaranteed criticals, you can probably shave off easily 20 seconds and get a very easy sub 2 minute clear time, which again is really impressive for the skill that she does have. All right, so now let's take Macy into epic rate and see how long it takes to do 20 million damage, right? In this case, her summon should be quite good. Again, keep in mind, whoa, that is crazy. Hold on, that was mad. Yo! Okay, by the way, keep in mind, again, my character's 5'5". Sobom is going to be hitting a tad bit harder there. But did you see that SA3 damage when we had the SP boost? And we also did our SA3 when weakening and paralysis was actually applied there. That was crazy. Let's see if we can do it again, right? Okay, there we go. Look at that. Look at that. 30 seconds just to do 20 million damage. Of course, our Sobom did more damage there compared to a 1 out of 5 Macy. And realistically, if we had a 1 out of 5, we would have maybe done 45 seconds. It would have been a tad bit slower there because our Sobom did more damage. But still, nonetheless, the craziest part about that run was the damage from the strong attacks. That realistically is the more impressive part and the main thing we're focusing on. But I feel like well, hold on, let's use the SA3. Look at that. That's what you need to do. You need to save that SA3 for when she inflicts a status element, because that's when you're going to be doing a lot of damage, right? Remember, epic raids, the bosses don't have the status element inflicted on them for long, so you really need to take that opportunity, that small little window, to do the damage, right? There we go. So the SA3 is active. Unfortunately, enemy isn't inflicted anymore, so look at that. You really want to have a strong attack ready, preferably that SA3. And even SA1, to be fair, that did some good damage to you when you inflict the status on, because that's where you're going to do most of your damage. Sobom goes off, weakened defense is applied. And if we had a strong attack ready to follow up, that also would have done the job. But a pretty big difference here. In this case, this run was like around 15 seconds slower, right? And that ultimately came down to me not having a strong attack ready when we did inflict the status on. So nonetheless, still pretty impressive, right? 45 seconds for a 1 out of 5 character, only 500 SP, is still really, really good. But with that said, lads, that was the video for today, showcasing the first edition of Macy in Bleach Braid Cells. Personally, I wouldn't mind more Macy's into the game, especially in a swimsuit if it's paired with Nini and Noelle. But regardless, I think this has proven that Macy is without a doubt one of the better speed characters in the game, and speed is quite stacked. She's being compared with Okiura, Uryu, and also Tensei and Getsu, and I think she's able to stand at the top in her own unique ways. She has a great damage output with the Frenzy +2 and the SP boost. She has no problem inflicting status elements with the SA2 that she does have. She has a great set of status elements, looks great while doing it. It's a new, fresh face into BBS. What more could you ask for? Well, maybe you could ask for immunities, but I don't think it's that big of a deal. I think she's great. She has a lot going for her, and is definitely going to be my probably most used speed character in the game for quite some time. We'll have to see how it goes. In the comments below, let me know what you like to think about this Macy, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care, and peace.